Welcome everyone. Today we're reviewing the case of Dr. Larry Nassar, a prominent figure in the sport medicine community, particularly known for his work with USA Gymnastics and Michigan State University. Okay, let's start with the facts now. Larry Nassar, a prominent doctor, abused his position to sexually assault young athletes. This case study examines the white-collar crime aspects, institutional failures, and lasting impact on victims and organizations. Okay, let's review some key events of the case. Nassar's abusive behavior started in the early 1990s. Many athletes reported discomfort with his treatments, but all the complaints were dismissed. In 2014, a formal complaint was filed with Michigan State University, but Nassar remained in his position. 2 years later, in 2016, a report by newspaper Indianapolis Star revealed systematic abuse with USA Gymnastics. This media exposure actually led to more victims coming forward and eventually to Nassar's arrest later that year. In 2018, after over 150 survivors testified in court, and Nassar was sentenced to up to 175 years in prison. These events are more than just dates. They reveal a pattern of negligence and failure by institutions responsible for protecting athletes. Okay, now let's discuss the deceptive practices that allowed Nassar to carry out his abusive undetected for so long. First, we have the abusive authority. By wearing the doctor title, he gained a level of trust that allowed him to act without question. Next, manipulation. Nassar carefully groomed his victims and their families using his medical knowledge to build a strong foundation of trust. This trust created an environment where questioning his practices seemed out of place. Lastly, false legitimacy. Nassar performed inappropriate and invasive procedures, falsely labeling them as necessary treatments for his patients' injuries. So in that case, we can see the common attributes of a white-collar criminal. First, the position of authority. Nassar is a doctor. Then, the respectable appearance. Nassar was well regarded in the athletic community, even receiving awards for his contribution. Third, the manipulative skills, and finally, the deceptive practices. Okay, let's review the obstacles in catching white-collar offenders. First, we have complexity of evidence. Nassar's medical expertise obscured abuse, complicating detection. Next, we have institutional complicity. Organizations ignored complaints and delayed intervention. And lastly, we have delayed reporting. Victims feared and confusion hindered timely reporting of abuse. Here is the impact of the case. 332 victims in the settlement. One major statistic I would like to mention is the reporting rate for sexual assault, which stands at only 25%. This is really low and shows the difficulty for survivors to come forward. The Larry Nassar case had led to important changes to protect young athletes. One key change is Protecting Young Victims Act. This law now requires everyone involved in national sports organizations to report suspected child abuse. It helps ensure that abuse is reported quickly and action is taken. There has also been institutional reforms. Many organizations have made reporting abuse easier and have added more checks to make sure athletes are safe. Finally, there's an enhanced accountability. New rules have been put in place to better protect young athletes and make sure anyone who sees abuse has to report it. Finally, here are some important recommendations to prevent this type of tragedies. Mandatory training for coaches, staff, and athletes so they can recognize and report abuse. Enhanced reporting to make it easier for victims and others to speak up. Regular audits to ensure that organizations are keeping athletes safe. Finally, whistleblower protection to protect those who come forward from being punished or retaliated against. Together, these steps can help create a safer environment for athletes and prevent abuse from happening in the future. Thank you, everyone.